Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hey, today, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you guys through a bench press progression. I know this is a lot of guys' favorite exercise. A lot of women tend to shy away from this exercise. But I tend to incorporate this into all of my training programs just because the bench press is such a great compound movement for developing not only total upper body strength, but total upper body power too. You can use this exercise pretty much anywhere at any gym because it is a push development movement. You can also regress this down to a body weight progression or regression to doing more of a push-up motion or any type of pressing against the ground motion or against the wall, depending on how your form is. So for today's exercise and the bench press progression movements, I'm going to give you 3 movements in order to help you progress further along in your bench press. Now, I like to incorporate these movements every week, sometimes every other day. So like for example, I'll do a bench press barbell one week, maybe progress to a bench press dumbbell the next week, and then maybe do a bench press med ball the following week. But I'm going to take you guys through each movement, kind of some of the coaching tips and cues that I look for with my athletes and the people that train here inside my gym, and kind of help you guys along when it comes to progressing you into your bench press and developing overall push power. So first things first is you have a regular bench press just like this. It's typical that, you see a lot of people that set their bench press. It's typical that you see them kind of put weight on before they get set first. My recommendation is always doing a warm-up set first, just so you can so for the warm-up set, not only can you help develop, joint strength and overall joint mobility, but develop bar speed, and develop overall bar power or power too. So typically I'd have an athlete come into a bench press and do a couple sets with just the bar only to kind of get, I call it again, a warm-up set or a feeler set to kind of get them familiar and comfortable with the bar. So from then I'm going to go ahead and after I get familiar with the bar, and I'm not going to break down the bench press, I'll say that for another video later, but what I would typically have them do is then I would have them throw weight on and kind of staying in a 6, 4, 3, or 1 count. That's how I do my bar, and that's how I do my rep count for just the bar. That does not include the dumbbells or the med ball. The reason why is because when I'm working an athlete with the bar or a client with the bar, I tend to want them to develop overall push power, and so I'm going to keep my volume really low, but my weight really high, because again, I'm trying to find overall strength, overall developmental power. Again, this doesn't include joint strength. This doesn't include, developing those things. This is just straight bar off the chest power. So again, when I work with the bar 1 week, I'll typically stay, like I said, within a 6, 4, 3, or 1 count. And that's traditional when it comes to your strength development programs. You hear the 5x5 programs. We typically stay around that rep range. So 1 week, I will do just a barbell bench press with an athlete or a client here just to get them developing power within their muscles. The next, either depending on what kind of program that they're on, week or month, I'll typically do a dumbbell bench press. And so with something like this, what I would do is typically stay the same as far as technique and form goes. But what I'm going to eventually do is now I'm going to develop stabilization and balance. So when I come down, I'm going to come down under control, putting my full upper body on stretch, and then developing power that way. Again, what I would do is, with a particular athlete, I would utilize this exercise in the following week or month, just because for that particular week, I wouldn't necessarily go barbell bench press to dumbbell bench press, unless that program specifically calls for it, just because with the barbell, you're going to develop a lot more power. With this, I'm focusing on stabilization, core, balance, basically overall strength, power, strength, okay? So again, that's kind of your next progression into your bench press movement, into your push movement. And last but not least, for the 3rd and following week, or for the 3rd and following month, if I'm working with a particular athlete or a particular client whose program calls for it, we'll do a lot of medicine ball pressing. So for this particular motion, well, again, I would have the athlete come down to basically a horizontal bench press position, right? And I would do is I'd have them place the med ball here at your chest and doing a simple med ball chest pass. Now, the reason for this is because I'm developing overall strength and power into my movement, but also total body components. And so what that basically means is now I'm involving my hips, my core, basically my lower body in my bench press position. Now, sometimes I might incorporate these along with this, depending on how the athlete responds to the bench press. But again, I would save this one for more of my deload week. Again, I would save this one for more of my week where my CNS is really, really damaged and my athlete just kind of feeling fatigued and faded throughout that week. This would be more of a week 3 type exercise where, again, with the purpose of this exercise is developing overall total body power and strength and not just one-dimensional power, one-dimensional strength, more of a functional-based movement here. So those are my 3 progressions to the bench press. That's typically how I progress an athlete when it comes to developing push power motion. And the reason for that is then we will recycle those through and go back to the bar once we're done with either week 3 or month 3 with this movement. And so, again, by the time you're done using all 3 of these phases, not only will you see your bench go up as far as strength goes, but you'll also see a lot bigger gains when it comes to balance and coordination with the bar, and on top of that too, more functionality with your movement. Again, each one of these 3 movements represents something different, and that's typically how I progress my athlete when it comes to bench pressing and increasing their bench press.